Hello, I'm Anawoltos, and today I'm going to be talking about why I do not believe that Western civilization should be defended. Now, of course, there are a few qualifications I have to make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying and does not take me out of context. I am not saying that Western civilization should be destroyed. That is not at all what I am saying. What I am also not saying is that Western civilization is entirely bad. That's also absolutely not what I'm saying. So what I am saying now is that when you talk about Western civilization or Western society, that actually has a very broad range of meanings. You can ask 10 different people the same question and get 10 different answers. And because of that, I think if you're going to defend something as being good and right, then you have to do it in a way that is specific. So when someone says, I want to defend Western civilization, the question I would ask is, what part of Western civilization? Because to just blanketly say Western civilization is a bit anachronistic, since even within what would qualify as Western civilization, there are many different distinctions and many different positions that are often in opposition with one another. And therefore, to say that Western civilization is something that you are going to defend is a bit absurd from my perspective. Now, what I mean, however, what should be defended is virtues. And I believe that virtues are not necessarily limited to a certain civilization or, in a broader sense, to a certain type of outlook. And that virtues are universal. That if you're going to defend something, you better defend something that is actually worth defending. In other words, I mean that you can look at right and wrong, good and evil, and say that these things are right, these things are wrong. For example, one thing that most people would agree is bad is dishonesty and lying and simply not being upfront with the truth. And that, of course, is not a virtue, and therefore, opposite to that, truth is a virtue, or murder is not a virtue, but saving somebody's life is virtuous. Now, of course, I personally have the opinion that life is a negative right in the sense that nobody should be deprived of their life. But if you're going to ask someone to put themselves at risk to save someone else, that is not necessarily something that is always good, in the sense that if someone comes into town and I've got 3 patients in the hospital that all need organ transplants, I'm not going to harvest this guy's organs without his permission in order to save the others who need the organ transplants. So there are some qualifications there and some differences in viewpoint between me and a lot of other people on that. However, that being said, if you're going to defend something, you better have it be something that is worth defending. Because if the virtues you believe in are not absolute or they are not universal, then what's the point of having them in the first place? That's just my thoughts. So so to summarize what I'm saying, I believe that instead of looking as Western civilization as a whole and trying to defend something that is internally inconsistent, it is better to get the specifics of what you're actually talking about and defending that, instead of looking at something anachronistically and allowing your morals to be diluted in such a way by looking at something collectivistically. In the same way that you can say that, one big example, in the United States, there is a higher crime rate or a higher murder rate among individuals of color. Now, that does not mean that every person of color that you're going to meet is a criminal. That absolutely is not what it means. So what I say is the government should, of course, punish the evil and reward the good, in the sense that you need to separate the good from the evil. You need to separate the wheat from the chaff. And the same thing applies when you're going to defend a viewpoint. So I do not believe that saying that you're going to defend Western civilization is doing that, because in that case you are taking many different things that are opposed to each other and you're saying that that is worth defending, when instead you could actually get to the root of the issue and actually talk about the things you actually want to defend, instead of allowing yourself to be easily strawmanned by your opponents by the simple fact that underlying Western civilization, there are certain things that you might probably not agree with, even though you might agree with different elements of it. So that's my thoughts. Tell me what you think. Maybe I'm being too extreme. Maybe there's a better reason. Maybe my viewpoint of not looking at it collectivistically is incorrect. Tell me what you think. If you'd like to talk to me or collaborate with me on a video, that's also another thing you could do in the comment section below. If you'd like to hear more, please make a request for any specific topic you'd like to talk about, and do subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you all next time on Awiltus over and out.